rise and shine. Coffee's brewing, feeling fine. News is out and on the air. Shizzy whiz nuts wild, but we don't care. Morning whiz and coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy whiz nuts, start the show. Let's go. Spinning in the breeze, stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java with a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning whiz and coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Headlines spinning in the breeze, stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java, wear a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning whiz and coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Serious is overrated. Every day we're caffeinated. Talk the town, but in a jest. Morning whiz is always best. Time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop. Clock is ticking, time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop.
Oh my God! Shizzy breaks Larry. Shizzy broke Larry.
Oh yeah!
Good morning, everybody. Man, I don't know if I have a voice this morning after last night. Oh boy, did we have a blast? Did we have a blast? If you haven't seen it, go check out last night. Some great guests last night. We had Fall Storm, Dictionary Diva, the wonderful I Have a Story, Kaiser Pineapple, Miss Nocturna. It was a beautiful, beautiful night of fun. Fun was had all the way around. I don't think I've laughed so hard in my entire life. It was good. It was a good time. And that's what we need, is just to have a little bit more fun in our lives. We've got, this depressing kind of news that comes out in the morning. Everybody's going, so unhappy. But we're gonna just try to laugh at that too, just a little bit. Because we're right in the middle of having two major fronts happening in two entirely different places, and it doesn't seem so happy at times, but future is not so bleak that we can't enjoy life just a little bit. Well, that's a good thing, Tammy. I'm glad you do. Good to see you, Jackie Gimmer. That's awesome. Good to see you. Oh my gosh, what a day it's been, man. Good morning, everybody. Oh my gosh, it's going to be an interesting day today. Why, you say? Well, because the AP reports crap like this. Hezbollah fires about 250 rockets and other projectiles into Israel in the heaviest barrage in weeks, wounding 7 people in one of the militant group's heaviest barrages in months in response to those strikes in Beirut, while negotiators press on with ceasefire efforts to halt the all-out war. Well, good luck with that. It's already been said what each side wants, and I don't think the ceasefire is going to be coming soon. It's unfortunate, because in this, only people that win are the ones that sit in the ivory towers. And those are the only ones that will benefit from this. Well, people are injured constantly. Not a happy place to be. I suggest y'all find Lord. Y'all find the Lord. But yeah, more firing going on. The Palestine Red Crescent reported 13 injuries were caused by an interceptor missile that struck several homes on the West Bank. And that's what happens whenever you have wars. The EU is calling for pressure to reach a truce. Well, EU, you don't belong there in that country. Just saying. I think they're more worried about what they have going. They should be a little bit more worried about what the EU has going on at home with their own people. I think the European Union might want to just look at their own continent and take care of their garbage over there. Because they have garbage over there going on. If you don't believe me, all you have to do is read the next headline that they have out. Russia reportedly captures a Briton fighting for Ukraine as Russian troops advance. EU, get your head out of your ass, straighten your stuff out over there. Just straighten it up over there. Russia's military captured a British national fighting with Ukrainian troops who have been occupied by part of Russia's Kursk region, according to reports on Monday, as Moscow began daylight drone attacks on civilian areas of Ukraine and its ground forces accelerated gains along the front parts of the front line. How come I have a hard time believing that they're advancing on civilian areas? Why do I have a hard time believing that? To me, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Well, this Briton was identified by state news agency TASS and other media as James Scott Rise Anderson. TASS quoted him as saying that he had served as a signalman for the British Army for 4 years, then joined the International Legion of Ukraine, formed early on in Russia's nearly 3-year-old war against its neighbor. On the battlefield, Ukrainian forces are straining to hold at bay the push by Russia's bigger army in places of the eastern Donetsk region. Russian forces recently have gained ground at a significantly quicker rate. Well, you dummies, you escalated this by firing long-range missiles into Russia. With the approval of the United States and the EU, as I said, EU, get your head out of your booty. I don't agree that America should have done anything of the such, but again, war is a nasty place to be. And if I look at the Institute for the Study of War, I guarantee you there's going to be stuff on it that you don't want to find out. And I'll pull it up and just look, because this seems to me that this group is probably not very good. They seem to be a pro-Ukraine group. They've been around for 15 years. You have to have membership. Oh, they want you to give through life insurance, give through donor-advised funds, give through securities, long-term investment. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this group doesn't sound good. They sound like a little bit of a sham scam. It seems that they're using, oh Jesus. Yeah, I don't like this group. I'm not really enjoying them at all. It seems that they've got, oof. Yeah. As soon as someone says they're not partisan, it just makes me get a little worried about it. Sorry, not liking this group. Russians have detected exploiting weaknesses in Ukraine defenses. It said in an analysis late Sunday, the war surpassed 1,000 days last week. Yeah, and people have escalated. Shite happening in Dearborn, Michigan. Wow. What's going on in Dearborn? Several people came into chat. I don't know what happened in Dearborn. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, we have new members. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming in to chat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. A lot of people have forgotten about the hostages the Russian took at the beginning of this mess. They even opened an indoctrination facility for the children that were taken. Yeah. Or how about maybe that was only what the news reported? Because you also have to remember at the very beginning of this, they had the ghost of Ukraine. The Air Force pilot that turned out it was completely made up, and no, he wasn't taking out fighter planes. I digress. I don't believe a lot of the news that you hear coming out of these places. I have a hard time believing what they're saying to be true, because we know that there's lots of lies and misinformation floating out about there. You're only hearing one portion of it. You're not hearing the whole thing. This is the way that they build up their disagreement between two countries, that this could have been resolved a long time ago. This could have been resolved long before 3 years ago happened, or going on the 3 years. You have to remember, in Ukraine, they won't hold any elections. Zelensky took power, ultimate power. He declared martial law and became basically Ukraine's supreme ruler. And he has been getting funding from every single country under the sun. And that money just seems to disappear, poof, into the night. It's amazing that there's people that are being caught fleeing Ukraine. We're talking about high-ranking officials fleeing Ukraine with millions upon millions of dollars, saying Russia is all a bad actor in this. No, they're both bad actors on both sides, and I wish they would get their head out of their ass and stop perpetuating the damn war, because this seems to be more of a war that's being fought in the media than it is actually being fought on the ground. Meanwhile, Ukraine's Air Force said Russia is adapting its drone tactics as it fired 145 Shed drones at Ukraine. Russia started launching drones during the day, whereas in the past, more drone attacks occurred during the night, the Air Force said. Well, yeah, why not use them more during the day? The counter disinformation said, yeah, see, here's the problem. Counter Disinformation Center said earlier this month that Russians were looking to conserve their stocks of more destructive but more expensive missiles and also terrorize civilians. The Air Force said it stopped almost all drones before they struck. But a morning missile attack on downtown Kharkiv, Ukraine's second largest city in the northeast, injured at least 23 people, according to the mayor. He said attack on a densely populated residential area was carried out by a modified surface-to-air missile. So they're giving you all this story over this right here. A British gentleman, or it could be a woman, was fighting alongside the Ukrainians. That's not a good look for them. No more killing, I agree. The father of Britishman says he was told by a Ukrainian commander of his capture. The captured Briton reportedly served as an instructor for Ukrainian troops and was deployed to the Kursk region against his will. Why? Well, if he's a Briton national, then how would he be there? Taz published a video of the man saying in English that he doesn't want to be here. Well, I imagine you don't want to be captured at all anyhow. Report couldn't be independently verified, but if confirmed, it could be one of the first publicly known cases of a Western national captured on Russian soil while fighting for Ukraine. The UK embassy, and like I said, this all seems very sketchy to me. I have a hard time believing all of this. I'm hoping he'll be used as a bargaining chip, but my son told me they torture their prisoners, and so I'm frightened he'll be tortured, he told the newspaper. The International Legion for Defense of Ukraine was created at the request of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky shortly after Russia's full-scale invasion in February of 2022. The Legion is a unit of Ukraine's ground forces that consists mostly of foreign volunteers. So if you are so hell-bent on perpetuating war, there's a place for you. And that would be right there. Right there. You too can go fight on the front lines. Early on in the war, Ukraine authorities said over 20,000 people from 52 countries came to Ukraine to help it defend against Russia's aggression. So ever since, those foreign fighters in the ranks of Ukrainian military have been classified. Why would they classify it? Because this is not a good look if you have Western forces going in and fighting against Russia. Especially when NATO is concerned. This is not a good look for them. Does not come off very well at all. We don't like war. War is bad. Speaking of wars, we got some a little bit later on to talk about. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. It is it's pretty interesting to me. Where it is? It is. Let's go back. This right here. You want to hear about a little bit of war? There you go. A looming MAGA war between J.D. Vance and Ron DeSantis. The first move is coming. They're the two hardest hitting heavyweights on the Republican bench. You can almost sense them eyeing each other from afar, apprising one another just in case, because in full contact politics, just in case will be here sooner than you think. In one corner, at the tender age of 40, is J.D. Vance. He's a military veteran who's deployed in Iraq, graduated from Yale History Children, and had a meteoric rise to the top of the ranks of the GOP. In the other corner, at the tender age of 46, is Ron DeSantis. He's a military veteran who was deployed in Iraq, graduated from Yale History Children, has a meteoric rise to the top of the ranks of the GOP. But despite their service level similarities, the two are starkly different people. Right now, President-elect Trump is the undisputed master of the Megatropolis. He runs the kingdom, dethroned as he is, for 4 years from now. Well, it won't be the meek who inherits the earth. Instead, it'll almost certainly be a military veteran who's deployed in Iraq, graduated from Yale, has 3 children, has a meteoric rise to the top of the ranks of the GOP. But which one? Maybe neither. Maybe neither. It's a story that'll be lurking in the murky background through 2025 and beyond, but a palace intrigue is a manic media magnet. With the Trump term limit and unable to run again, it's only natural that every speech, photo op, and trip to New Hampshire and or Iowa by Vance and DeSantis will be exhaustively scrutinized. Vance and DeSantis aren't the only two contenders, of course. There's still the pre-Trump stalwarts who sought the brass ring in 2016, Cruz, Rubio, plus the new breed post-Trump politicians like Governor Glenn Youngkin. And there will surely be a handful of political outsiders, a la Vivek Ramaswamy, who are emboldened by Trump's personal example. That's the one thing we know for sure, from long shots to very long shots to very, very, very long shots. There won't be a shortage of GOP presidential candidates. There never are. But the two names loom far larger above the rest. DeSantis, Vance, possibly our next vice president. Our next vice president. The Trump administration is borrowing heavily from Florida. An unusually large number of cabinet members will be coming from the Sunshine State. The president, plus chief of staff, his secretary of state, his national security advisor. Trump's original nominee for attorney general, Matt Gaetz, was a Floridian, as is Pam Bondi. Blondie? I don't know. The replacement nominee. I know very little of her. When Rubio is confirmed Secretary of State, Governor DeSantis will choose his replacement. Pay close attention, because it's likely to be the first chess move of the 28 GOP presidential race. Who DeSantis chooses and who he snubs will speak volumes. If DeSantis taps Lara Trump, That most certainly means he's making a move for the GOP nomination, although DeSantis is well regarded by MAGA Nation. His disloyalty is running against the man who made his career hasn't been forgotten. Naming Laura Trump the next senator would be a hell of a way to make amends. Meanwhile, J.D. Vance would seem to have the insider track for the 28 GOP nomination. After all, who better than the vice president to be MAGA's heir apparent? But that inside track could ultimately be illusionary. First of all, the VP is a powerless position. It makes the office holder look weak and subservient. Kamala Harris never truly stood the stigma of being Biden's lackey, and thus she never emerged as a plausible, credible leader. There's no guarantee that Vance will exit the vice presidency looking strong and inspirational. Few do. Second, Trump might not even endorse Vance. Traditionally, presidents have refrained from endorsing their VPs during the primaries. Reagan did do it for Bush in 1988. Obama didn't do it for Biden in 2020, but Biden certainly endorsed Harris, and Trump has never been beholden to tradition. If the MAGA father wants to put his thumb on the scale, he will, and how motivated he is to intervene will likely depend on how he feels about the other candidates. As a consequence of Trump stocking his cabinet with so much Florida talent, DeSantis has never stood larger, stronger, more dominant in the Florida GOP circles. With local ranks depleted, DeSantis can only grow larger in stature. If his failed 24 campaign has soured him on presidential politics, maybe DeSantis will reward a loyal soldier or a donor and give him or her Rubio seat, or maybe he'll nominate himself. That would be interesting. A Senate seat is a very valuable commodity. People even pay money for it. A smart, forward-thinking politician like DeSantis will surely consider all possibilities and then choose a path that maximizes the political payoff. After all, that's what smart politicians do. If Laura Trump is the choice, invest in mouth guards and heavy bags. DeSantis will be back in 28, stampeding towards a heavyweight showdown. The VP elect. May the best military veteran who was deployed in Iraq, graduated from Yale, has 3 children, has a meteoric rise to the top of the ranks of the GOP win. So that's what the right is thinking. There just might be a little bit of something, a little bite to that dog. A little bit of bite to that dog. You never know. And then, of course, we have is better as a governor right now. I agree, Stormy. He is absolutely is better as a governor. I think that it's a much better place for Ron to be in that governorship. But we do have some interesting stories, and you guys want to stick around for the next for the one towards the middle of the stream today. It's going to be an interesting one. We're going to dig into it just a little bit more, because I think it's important. This is not the story. $300 billion year deal for climate cash at UN summit sparks outrage for some and hopes for others. Well, why? The United Nations climate talks adopted a deal to inject at least $300 billion annually into humanity's fight against climate change, aimed at helping developing nations cope with the ravages of global warming and intense negotiations. That means that America is going to be paying for it. Your money is going to be spent on climate change. The $3 billion will go to developing countries. If you don't understand what a developing country is, they consider anything a third world country to be a developing country, because they're the hardest hit from like their dictatorships, their rank and file socialism. Those are what they consider developing countries. Who need the cash to wean themselves off the coal, oil, and gas that they so-called causes the globe to overheat. I mean, we remember this back from the 50s, 40s, 30s, 20s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and all the way up into the 2000s. The teens of the 20s, teens, they really dug in deeper, and here we are in 2024. In 2024, and they still want you to believe that the world is cooling and it's all man-made or warming, whatever the climate happens to be. It's being caused by this. It's being caused by you, human people. All you human people. The world is getting warmer because it's not like the planet can't just shake us off like a bad case of the fleas. Isn't that what George Carlin said? Wasn't he famous for saying, look, if you think any of this is going to make any difference, the planet's going to be shook off like a bad case of leaves. You have to remember, it is not as bad as you think. If it was, why are these people moving to their oceanfront properties? Why are these politicians living in some of the best places, the pristine beaches? Why do you think they even bother scraping the sea, the beaches, and combing those out and making it look nice and beautiful? Because you, the people, will pay all kinds of money on a belief of this. And what does it matter? Nations express their discontent. A long time line of nations agree with India and piled on. The Nigerian something or other CEO of the National Council on Climate Change calling the deal an insult and a joke. Disappointed. It's definitely how the benchmark that we've been fighting for so long. Juan Carlos Monterrey of the Panama delegation. You know that a few changes, including inclusion of the words "at least" before the number 300 billion and an opportunity for revision by 2030, helped push them to the finish line. Yeah. Speaking for the nearly 50 of the poorest nations in the world, like I said, developing nations. After tough talks, some feel relief. Yeah. Don't care. Hope that more climate cash will follow. Yeah. Because it's all about the money. You have to remember, all these delegates are getting paid buku bucks. They're getting paid buku bucks, and the amount of garbage that you're going to see. And you have to remember, this is the UN. It's not just some little group. It's UN that's taking money from Americans, taking money from wealthier countries that should be taking care of their own people for equity. Tell me these two guys that are sitting here in their very expensive suits, hugging one another, that there's not some backdoor deals going on. Tell me there's not. They are all, it is like a freaking cult. To hell with them. To hell with taking money. If it's not a war, then we're going to have another climate deal. Dislike the UN, dislike NATO. I dislike the garbage that these people are pulling. Charlotte airport workers strike at outset of busy Thanksgiving travel week. Charlotte, North Carolina. Service workers at Charlotte's Douglas International Airport have gone on strike during a busy week of Thanksgiving travel to protest what they say are unlivable wages. I very much doubt it. Employees of ABM and Prospect Airport Services cast ballots Friday to authorize the work stoppage in North Carolina, which a spokesperson said began Monday morning. Officials and with Service Employees International Union, here you go, another union, announced the impending strike in a statement early Monday, saying the workers would demand an end to poverty wages and respect on the job during holiday travel season. Poverty wages. I guarantee you that the people raising the biggest stink are making six figures. The people raising the biggest stink are the one that are making six figures. We saw this happen just before the election. Remember the dock workers? Yeah, those dock workers back in September. Was it October? It doesn't matter. They were threatening to shut down the eastern seaboard. You know what Ron DeSantis said? Bring it here, bring it to Florida. Yeah, they came back to the table really quick. Yeah. Yeah, that's this, you're looking at this. If they strike, then you have another airport strike, and then you have another strike by our dock workers bringing in supplies. You're going to have a really messed up Christmas. You think these unions aren't doing this crap on purpose? Union bosses are being paid a lot of money to do this crap. ABM and all these garbage people, they describe living paycheck to paycheck, unable to cover car expenses like car repairs while performing jobs that keep countless planes running on schedule. If you're living paycheck to paycheck doing this kind of thing, then leave. You also have to remember the economy is jacked because of our current administration. We're on strike today because this is our last resort. Then stop paying your fucking union dues. Serious. Do you know how much unions take out of your damn pocket? Every damn day. Every dollar that you make, how much of that goes to your union dues? You know what those union dues do? They go to collective bargaining. They make those deals on your behalf, whether you like them or not. We're on strike today because this is our last resort. We can't keep living like this, ABM cabin cleaner Priscilla Hoyle said in a statement. Well, how much does an ABM cabin cleaner make? I wonder how much a cabin cleaner makes. Just curious. Let's see. ABM cabin cleaner jobs, $14 an hour. $14 an hour. But that is not even. Oh wow. Look, they've got a job here. You must be here's the skill involved in being a cabin cleaner. Think about this. Must be 18 years or older, must meet all requirements, receive approval for working in specific ATS environments, if applicable, including a 10-year work history if available, must be able to communicate with basic English language. Benefits, base rate, is $17 per hour. You will have 2 days consecutive days off between Monday and Friday. ABM offers non-comprehensive benefits package. Responsibilities. The aircraft cabin keeper role provides cleaning and upkeep of an assigned area within the aircraft. 5 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Morning shift 10 to 6. So $17 an hour, you can go clean the inside of planes. Yeah, you get to run a vacuum cleaner. Wipe surfaces down. Scrape the vomit off the, seat in front of whatever. That's what you have. $17 an hour. And ABM, by the way, this ABM cabin cleaner that Priscilla Hoyles that's an independent company. Why is she striking for an airline if she's an ABM cabin cleaner? That's an individual company. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I worked for a company that paid better than union wages, and then there was a bunch of workers that wanted to come in and form a union, and the boss man said, "Hey, I can't stop you from forming a union, but I highly suggest against it," or something of that sort. I wasn't there. I had already left and went to go work on a ship, but apparently what happened is the day after they had their little union meeting, they showed up to work. He had the building padlocked, told them when they could come by to pick up their tools, and he sold the building and everything in it the next day. Joke not. Shut it down. He had, close to 200 employees. He goes, there's no point in me continuing on if I'm doing everything I can to make their life good. I'm paying better than union wages. I'm bidding my jobs out as such. I've got some of the best crews here, but they want to start a union, which means that they're going to be taking more money out of my pocket. I don't have time for this. See you, bye. Good luck finding a job elsewhere. I'll give you good references, but I'm shutting my doors and shuttering up. If you want to go work for a union, go for fucking work for a union. We're taking action because our several hundred workers are expected to walk off the job and continue the work stoppage through Monday. Most of them earn between $12.50 and $19 an hour. Starting wage is $17, which is well below the living wage for a single person with no children in the Charlotte area. I don't think that's true. If I was making $19 an hour, which I'm not because I've been doing what I've been doing for quite some time. But if I was making $19 an hour, I guarantee you I would be making ends meet pretty damn well. I know how to live very frugally. And it's time you learn. Also, this is the people that you voted for that put you in this position. Stop voting for the people that are wanting to oppress you. In addition to walking off the job, striking workers plan to hold an 11 a.m. rally. Well, how about if you work? Because if you're striking, you're not getting paid. So if you're going to strike against not getting paid, it makes no sense to me. The strike's giving lunch in place of the Thanksgiving meal that many of the workers won't be able to afford later this week. Well, you can blame that on your current president, the one that is doing this crap in the first place. Airport service union workers make holiday travel possible by keeping airports safe, clean, and running. Despite their critical role in the profits that major corporations enjoy, well, that's so they can purchase the tools for you to do your damn job. I don't see these people that are cleaning the airport supplying their own equipment, taking care of health benefits. You'd be surprised how much profits these companies don't make. And whenever it becomes non-profitable, you know what they do? They shut their doors. Now go try to look for a job. If they have to shut their doors because they're not making a profit, see you bye. God, idiots. I've never seen a poor person hire a rich person to work. Ever. At ABM, we appreciate the hard work our team members put in every day to support our clients and help keep spaces clean and properly healthy, a company said in a statement last week. Prospect Airport Services said last week the company recognized the seriousness of the potential for a strike during the busy holiday season. Well, go clean Spirit Airlines. How about that? It's a novel idea, isn't it? Isn't it a novel idea that you could easily do this? Ah. Hmm. What is this right here? Oh, can't show that. That was something I wanted to show, but I can't show it. But this is going to be fun right here for you. A little bit of palate cleanser.
The United States of America is about to become the meanest country on the planet.
Uh-oh.
And when I say that with my utmost respect, because I am good with it. Let me tell you how I know. I know this because Trump has appointed almost 90% of his cabinet is Gen X. And Gen X does not care about your feelings. I don't know how many times we have to say this, okay? You keep saying, oh, you're so mean. Yes, we are mean. Yeah. And we've been holding it all inside because we've been told that, oh, you can't do that. Well, yeah, we can. And now we're in charge. So the mean kids are in charge. We're going to get stuff done. And if that is not okay with you, then you're going to need to take a time out, go to a safe space, cry on your pillow, bottle it up. Because if you cry and we see you crying, you're either going to get a wedgie, a noogie, or a biff. And one time I biffed my cousin so hard in the face that I made her nose bleed. And I got my ass whooped for that. That was an experience. But did it stop me? No, didn't stop me. Nope, didn't stop me. So just I need to warn you, if you are not Gen X, what is about to come is going to be hard for you.
For you?
But it is going to be
Sounds Midwestern.
Okay?
Sounds
so we're
Midwestern.
doing this. We're doing this for the whole country betterment. I promise you. And I'm on board. And sometimes we're mean to each other too. Gen X is fine with that. We can handle that. Let's no big deal. But the rest of you, put on your helmets, get a little whoopee, get your little blanket, and go sit down, because it's the wave of mean is about to crash down.
I love it. I love her. She's awesome. She's awesome. Well, it depends on what country you're in. See? Yeah. It also depends on what country you're in, because those perks, if you saved your money, you could end up with much, much better perks out of that. Same way as like Social Security, where everybody says, oh, Social Security. You know, if the amount of money that you spent on Social Security, you actually put into low interest yielding fund, by the time that you're ready to retire, you would probably have about 4 times the amount of money that you have currently for your retirement. It would be amazing. They also use the money not for Social Security, but for all their little pet projects that they want to spend money on. Have you ever dealt with the Social Security office? Oh, that's lots of fun, isn't it? That's government bureaucracy for you. They keep taking your money. Unions, back when they were formed, in the original unions when they were formed, they were really doing a lot of good. They've outgrown their usefulness now. And if you're worried about having a lawyer for something, just saying, how many don't? It's like spending insurance on a boat that you don't live near water with. It's like spending money on insurance for flooding when you live in the mountains. It's completely outused. Guess those dinosaurs caused the ice age. Yeah, exactly. Lots of farting there. I love it. Oh my gosh. But of course, like I said, need to hold the politicians tight for their selections, such as this. The honeymoon is over. Trump's pick for labor secretary is a teachers union favorite. Well, that didn't last long as I would have liked. President-elect Donald Trump had been on a roll with his choice for roles in his next administration. On Thursday, he ruined the good vibes with one horrible cabinet pick. In Tuesday morning's briefing, I celebrated Trump's nomination of Linda McMahon to be Secretary of Education. Her strong views on school choice rattled the people in charge of the teachers' unions, who are the biggest obstacle to education reform because of their powerful leftist political lobbies. Now, that's the problem you have with unions here in the United States. I noted that substantive progress with school choice would be a direct shot at the heart of the Democrats' main source of funding. On Thursday, Trump did something to make the teachers union very happy. Wall Street Journal, hard to believe, but Donald Trump on Friday night nominated a favorite of the teachers union chief, Randy Weingarten, as his labor secretary. Why would Mr. Trump want to empower labor bosses who oppose his economic agenda and spent masses to defeat him? Mr. Trump's regrettable choice is Oregon Representative Lori Chavez DeRemer. Her name is DeRemer. Ms. Weingarten on Thursday tweeted her support for the refreshment Republican Teamsters President Sean O'Brien, who spoke at the Republican National Convention, has also been pulling for her in a Truth Social post. Mr. Trump said she'll work towards historic cooperation between businesses and labor. But Ms. Chavez DeRemer has backed union giveaways like the PRO Act, which are not cooperation. I'll get to the PRO Act in a moment, But for the moment, let's focus on the fact that Randy Weingarten is a vile human being. She was the face of school closures during the coup, championed keeping them closed far longer than even the tyrants thought was necessary. Weingarten wrecked a generation of public school children, forcing them into a brutal game of catch-up that many will never win. She lied about her role in all of that. She's Team Trump and the Chavez-DeRemer choice, though. One of the most clinically insane leftists in America thinks that a Republican politician did a good thing. It means that a Republican just did a clinically insane leftist thing. For any conservative who had high hopes for the Trump 47's administration, Weingarten's approval of Chavez-DeRemer's nomination undoes a lot of goodwill that's been built up. That's not the worst thing about this choice, however. Chavez-DeRemer is an annoying name to type repeatedly, by the way, is one of only 3 Republicans in the House to support the execrable PRO Act. Its full title, the Richard L. Trumka Protecting the Right to Organize Act. The PRO Act is an SOP to big labor that got its start in California Assembly Bill 5, AB 5, back in 2018. AB 5 was a major effort to upend the freelancer-driven gig economy. Specifically, rideshare companies like Uber and Lyft, which had long been targets, politicians who are funded by labor unions. My town hall media colleagues in California would have been adversely affected by AB 5 as well. The bill was so noxious that the left-leaning California electorate passed a proposition in 2020 that carved out an exception to AB 5. AB 5 was one of the worst ideas to come out of California's progressive fever dream, and the PRO Act seeks to make a version of it federal law. The PRO Act is the latest attempt in big labor's years-long effort to do away with secret ballots in union voting and do things via an insidious process called card check, which, per Wall Street Journal, will implement a coercive process whereby as union, what does it say? Union organizers confront employees individually and relentlessly at work and at home until they sign a petition card. If the union can collect cards from half of the workforce, it gets certified without a vote. In other words, it legalizes union thuggery, which means what they could do is they can harass you endlessly until you sign the card. Sign the damn card, sign the damn card. They will make threats. They will threaten you. They will threaten your family until you sign the damn card. Card check was one of the biggest issues that we were fighting back against at the Tea Party days. It remains such a high priority for the unions that they're still working on making it law over a decade later. Representative Chavez-DeRemer not only shouldn't be Trump's nominee for Secretary of Labor, he should never have considered her in the first place. Yes, she's a Republican, but she is a Republican from a deep blue state more often than not. That means a moderate Democrat. From a conservative perspective, Chavez-DeRemer is carrying red flags in both hands. Yeah, it was cool to have the Teamsters guy speak at the RNC. That doesn't mean that Trump has to dole out favors to him, which this seems to be. Throughout this year, I've praised Trump's decision-making. This choice, however, is so stunningly awful that I have to wonder how many other lefties have his ear. It's a most sombering thought. As I said, keep these people in check. Your politicians, hold them accountable for the choices that they're making. Keep them in check. We're going to take a short break. I'm going to go grab some more coffee, and we'll be right back in just a minute.
Shizzy, when it's chat we thrive, where Shizzy does dance and memes arrive. No quiet moments, no dull night. We laugh and funny sight. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gigs and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream. shout outs to those random screams, to inside jokes and endless memes. We talk and Shizzy when it's chat, we thrive. Where Shizzy does dance and memes arrive. No quiet moments, no dull night. We laugh and funny sight. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream. From shoutouts to those random screens, to inside jokes and endless memes. In Shizzy when it's chat we thrive, where Shizzy does dance and memes arrive. No quiet moments, no dull night. We laugh and funny sight. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream. From shoutouts to those random screens, to inside jokes and endless memes. We type our hearts, we spam the love. Our chat rooms like a lit up club. Our chat rooms like a lit up club. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream. Ooh, yeah, we come together night and day. We laugh, we play in our way. A family in a cyberspace, loving hearts in this virtual place. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. And you thought that was bad. You thought that last story was bad. The next one is even worse. Trump ruined the good vibes with a couple of horrible nominations. Happy Monday, dear Cruiser Morning Briefing friends. This is written by Cruiser. The pie throwing contest is open only to left-handed haters of pants. Yes, I don't like wearing pants either. Regular readers know where I impose the news blackout on myself every week from the time I publish the Friday brief until Sunday night. I filled in on the editing desk here on Saturday, so I was swimming in news this weekend. That meant I got to catch up on the president-elect's latest nomination and quickly wished that I hadn't. We've all noticed that Donald Trump was preparing to be president of the United States 47. Isn't the same guy he was back in 2016 and early 2017. He was gearing up to be our 45th president. I've been a big fan of the people he's been choosing to fill out his next administration. In last Wednesday's briefing, I was singing the praises of Linda McMahon, the woman Trump nominated to be the next Secretary of Education. It looked like, at long last, some real reform at the Department of Education might be possible. Imagine my unpleasant surprise when Trump nominated a woman to be Secretary of Labor who can count American Federation of Teachers head Randy Weingarten among her fans. Chavez DeRemer is the worst Republican Trump could have picked for labor. There is absolutely no justification in this nomination. She isn't some garden variety GOP who is pretending to be on the right side before she sticks it to her own side. She's flying her progressive freak flag from the get-go. And we talked about that already. Trump is a renowned lifelong teetotaler. He wasn't drunk when he signed off on these choices. Over at our sister site, Hot Air, Ed Morrissey wrote about Axios' article that examined the ideological diversity in Trump's new cabinet. This is how Ed began his post. Fact check. True, at least on paper, and conservatives may not like the implications of it either. In fact, they may just wonder just what Donald Trump plans to disrupt. There's nothing for conservatives to like about DeRemer. She's a gift to the Teamsters president, Sean O'Brien, for his support of Trump. And yes, that is big labor. Yes, he is a Democrat. Yes, O'Brien did help with Trump union voters, and there's an opportunity to develop a new GOP voting bloc, but there, baby steps would have been better. Don't dominate a woman who's championing the legalization, as I wrote in my column, union thuggery. We've been celebrating the fact that Trump is obviously going about putting together his administration in a different fashion than he did for his first term. A different approach should yield different results. There's a good different and a bad different, though. And we have to wonder if Trump is blundering into the latter. Maybe Chavez, DeReamer, and Nashwat can change their ways and end up surprising all of us, or, and this is where the money is, they'll be the first two to leave and write tell-all books slamming their former boss. But hey, now for something. There we go. Look at that. Everything's not awful. Yep, this is what they do all day long. That's some love right there. Grand Pyrenees, I can't remember the exact name for them. But these dogs, I've seen them go up against a whole pack of wolves. They are definitely some good dogs. Pretty puppies. Pretty puppies. And more from Ben Barty. More from Ben Barty. MSNBC news actor, race scholar, confront the First Amendment's dark history. What's weird here most of all is that we are so conditioned to what calls itself the liberal media defender of something called democracy, trademark. Hearing that confronts the First Amendment's dark history on national airwaves isn't actually surprising at all. In 2024, this is what we expect from the grand institution of legacy media upon whom we are requested to rely to remold our worldview. These are our leaders with their collective finger on the nuclear launch codes. Esteemed lady doctor, not an actual doctor, the Lady Jill is a kind of community organizer, whatever posing as a doctor. Mary Ann Frank's highly nuanced and learned argument is that free speech is racist. If you don't believe me,
Trump's election win, along with his cabinet picks, who's who of unqualified loyalists and a handful of conspiracists, only underscores that the real winner of this year's election was the algorithm. It's only intensified the debate over whether the First Amendment's protections are adequate in a world where the proverbial town square is monopolized by wealthy elites.
That's not how it works. Because your wealthy elites would be your news organizations. This is why they are failing so bad.
Current understanding of the First Amendment's free speech clause comes from early 20th century Supreme Court decisions, including one from Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes, whose famous concept of the marketplace of ideas, the theory that a free and open exchange of ideas will allow the best ones to prevail simply on their merits. But that theory has been increasingly tested in the digital era, where information is filtered through algorithms deliberately engineered to prioritize profit or perhaps nefarious messages over truth. And arguably, the First Amendment falls short because it was never intended to protect those who can't afford the megaphone.
Actually, that would be incorrect. The freedom of speech was always meant to protect those that don't have the megaphone. It was there to protect every single person equally. No difference. Your voice is just as loud and just as valuable as mine. That's what the freedom of speech is. You can be free to disagree. You can be free to argue that if you really want to.
Justice Holmes' famous assertion that there is no such thing as a false idea, which went on to influence later cases and supports a maximalist approach to free speech, meaning the more speech, the better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The more speech, the better. Morning, Sharon. Good morning. The last several years I worked, I put 30% of my salary into IRA and do well in retirement. Exactly, Joyce. It's amazing how amazing whenever you set your mind to it, you can do well. About 20 years ago, a union wanted your ex-husband to join them in a Japanese-owned company. They came to your home uninvited. They wanted his help. Did them no good. We let them leave unharmed. Yeah, it's always a good thing to do. My trash dude runs on Mondays. I pay for it. Dump is only 2 miles down the road from me, but had issues that stopped me from loading and going a couple of years ago, so I pay $30 a month. There you go. There you go.
Presumes a level playing field, one in which all ideas compete equally. In reality, the struggle for free speech in America has fundamentally been a fight for access.
Yeah, whenever somebody starts speaking words like fundamentally, it means they don't believe it. See, the thing is as people are saying, oh, well, free speech is not free speech. Well, why don't you take your ass over to Bluesky? Take your ass over to Bluesky and see how much free speech you have over there on this platform. On X, the beautiful thing is they have community nodes, which really pisses people off because they get fact-checked all the damn time whenever they say something that's untrue and verifiably untrue and false. Community notes takes over and will lambaste them. You'll see more and more of that. Elitists telling us more about how free speech works. Exactly. That's exactly what you've got. MSNBC, no.
George Washington law professor Marianne Franks writes, quote, when the drafters of the Constitution set out the rights of we the people, they meant people like themselves.
No. See, here, right there, is the problem. Because they want to separate you again into classification. You're white, you're black, you're male, you're female, you're Christian, you're non-Christian, you're wealthy, you're poor. Class warfare. Class warfare. More class warfare. That's what we need more of. Brought to you by Mary Ann Franks. Mm-hmm.
White, male, Christian, and wealthy, end quote. Franks argues that throughout our history, the First Amendment has in practice subordinated the perspectives of women and minorities to the dominant voices of white wealth.
Yeah, this is nothing but race baiting right here. Nothing but race baiting. That's all that this guy is doing. He is trying to put up more to get you to hate your neighbor, to believe that they have more of a voice than you. Nobody has. That's freedom of speech. You don't have any more of a voice than the next person. Just here. Yeah. The founders knew the republic was fragile. The rights were for all citizens.
Wealthy men, speech that challenges social hierarchies, what she calls radically democratic speech of equality and inclusion, or in the title of her book.
Right there. Now you know where they're at with it. So anything that he says beyond this is absolute garbage. It's psychological gobbledygook. That's all it is. To make you think that one voice is not better than the other. And that's for you to decide whether you like that or something else. They still don't get it. This is why MSNBC is failing miserably.
Fearless speech has been despised and violently suppressed throughout American history.
By the left. The left has been very violent in shutting down speech. If you want to look, it's MSNBC is built on lies and fair. I really hope Elon's taking over and hires Rogan. Rogan was damn funny. He said that if Elon bought MSNBC, that he hired him, that he would dress just like and look just like Rachel Maddow and spread the same damn lies as she does. It was awesome, ultimate troll. No one keeps their jacket button while sitting. Not to mention it's too small on him. Yeah, way too small. Well, a lot of mine is bathroom. No flushing toilet paper.
In In the 1830s, for example, abolitionist literature, one of the first radical speech movements in America, was violently suppressed by Southern legislatures.
Oh, that would be the Democrats. Yeah, it was Democrats that were the ones that were doing this right here. Yeah. Yeah. Or as like they like to call them and sort of hide their faces. They called them Dixiecrats. Yeah. Those were the ones that were wanting to keep those voices silent.
The 1873 Comstock Act banned content related to women's sexuality and reproductive health under the
Yeah, if you really want to dig into this one, I would suggest digging into it and finding out what they're actually talking about. That right there is what they want you to remember. They want you to think that this is all right-wing politics that's causing it. No, these are left-wing politics that wanted to quiet people. And still doing it, absolutely. Yeah, it's so much fun to watch Madhow melt down with the thought of Musk. Oh, that would be wonderful. I'm not going to go through the full 11 minutes of this because then we'll just miss out on the rest of the story here. The First Amendment's mythical status as an uncompromising guardian of free expression for all is the product of historical revisionism, selective intention, and limited imagination. What has been protected in the United States above all is not a fearless speech, but the service of equality, but rather reckless speech in the service of racial and gender hierarchy. While great strides have been made over the centuries to transform Americans' false claim of democracy into a true one, the original ruling class has done everything it can to resist this. The values of white male supremacy and the speech that reinforces them have ways received heightened protections in our society. Of course, this is all very brave and stunning and original, truth-telling even. Of course, no critical Marxist scholars ever came up with the idea of subverting sacred Western principles that underpin democracy in the name of protecting democracy, trademark, with no sense of irony. These principles, being hard won over centuries by white people in Europe, part of the first civilization in the world to outlaw slavery before inspiring white people in America, their cultural heirs, to take the self-governance thing 2 steps further. Yes, America, unique among historical world evils, is very, very bad. We're living in a global utopia before the founding fathers invented slavery and subjugation along radical lines. The upper middle class white male, hashtag MeToo banshees, and the BLM rioters who went wild in the streets for a whole summer with impunity, of course, are put upon classes in America. Yeah. That is their thought. And don't you dare forget what the Democrats did to we the people. Read by Kevin Downey Jr. Trump wasn't the only one to dodge a bullet in Butler, Pennsylvania. The Uniparty tried to end democracy and came pretty close. As a comedian, I know how to read the room, as the saying goes, and I'm reading nothing less than a nationwide calm with a dash of what else do the commies have up their sleeves? Trepidations. I suspect the globalist military-industrial complex, or even Jill Biden, whoever is actually running things, aren't going to turn over the keys to the White House with at least one last attempt to kick all the ghoulies of freedom, or maybe, just maybe, Grumpy Joe with his pyramids will slink quietly out of the swamp while Americans are busy with shovels trying to find Grandpa's backyard atomic shelter from 1958, now that Biden turned his World War III knob to 11 by allowing Ukraine to make it rain on Russia with long-range missiles. We're living in a truly historical, if not biblical times, but rarely such times pleasant. Many of us recall the very date and many gruesome details of the time we drove past an accident where we saw the bodies hanging out of an AMC Pacer while a Ford Pinto sizzled. No one dazzles their friends with talks of smooth running traffic. I hate to be a downer here, but I think that was a good time to remember the bad times of the Biden administration, how much worse it would have gotten if Trump hadn't survived the communist attempt to bankrupt, imprison, and even kill him, or if Camel Toe had somehow won the election. In years past, we watched the Biden-Harris administration lead various courts in 4 orchestrated legal attacks against Trump that oozed Soviet-style justice. Joe Biden's Stasi Yabos raided Trump's Mar-a-Lago home and took doctored pictures of supposed secret documents which he can legally possess when they weren't busy bloodhounding their way through Melania's Trump's brookies. Factorama, Hillary Clinton was fined $8,000 for not disclosing that she spent $1 million in campaign funds to help pay for the bogus Steele dossier, which was intended to hurt Trump before the 2016 election. Trump, accused of the same crime, falsifying business records, was charged and convicted of 34 felonies. The Operation Mockingbird media lip spittles were quick to suggest, citing anonymous experts, that Trump might be passing on nuclear secrets to the Saudis, despite no actual evidence. The Santelinas judge then fined Trump and his son Donald Jr. $455 million for a crime no one could prove happened. Factorama, Boeing, a darling of the military-industrial complex, was found guilty of committing what many referred to as the deadliest corporate crime in U.S. history, which resulted in 2 plane crashes and 346 people killed. Boeing was fined $243.6 million for their felonious conviction, slightly more than half of what Trump was fined. Keep that in mind. The sickest part of the Biden administration communist lawfare attacks against Trump is that so many Americans who's lacking these critical skills cheered them on. No, we as a species have not grown since the days when judges told their local constable to drown witches. Let us never forget the CIA, the FBI, and various other federal agencies censored patriotic Americans on social media. People wise enough to understand that a global virus is way more likely to come from a laboratory than a bat sandwich, and brave enough to talk about it. Then there's those 2 pro-lifers who were locked up for saying prayers in front of abortion clinics, including a 75-year-old woman in a wheelchair and her 74-year-old sister, who were both snagged 2 years in a federal Husgal. Antifa Princess Rugi Raman was sent to prison for a mere 15 months for burning a police car, a charge that would normally send someone away for 5 to 10 years. That 5-year sentence was given to yet another pro-lifer. Where's Raman now, you ask? Oh, well, we found her. Disbarred 2020 BLM Antifa lawyer rioter Rugra Raman was the anti-4th of July direct action in New York City. Raman was sentenced to only 15 months in prison in a sweetheart deal of a firebombing attack. And this is yeah.
Ugly ass Zionist Nazi. You're a Nazi. You're a Nazi.
That's where she is now. She's wanting war more. So much for repentance. The Biden-Harris administration has been punishing Trump for his supporters for 4 years while coddling their violent street animals. If Harris won, it was only going to get worse. More people would have been locked up indefinitely. More illegals would have been invited to replace us, the Americans. The violence we would see in the big blue toilet towns was going to spread to your community. Like I said, we all dodged a bullet that day in Butler, Pennsylvania. But never forget what Ronald Reagan presently declared: freedom is never more than 1 generation away from extinction. Good morning, all you new people joining in. Here, listen.
Our founding fathers here in this country brought about the only true revolution that has ever taken place in man's history. Every other revolution simply exchanged one set of rulers for another set of rulers. But only here did that little band of men, so advanced beyond their time that the world has never seen their like since, evolve the idea that you and I have within ourselves the God-given right and the ability to determine our own destiny. But freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free. Thank you.
Well spoken. Okay, I'm done being Mr. Cranky Pants for now. Let's have some of the Commies Can't fun. Check out this Lady-O video from our patriotic friends. Jokes in a point, and there's a little salty language, but it's worth a watch. The lefty morons melt down like Sharon Noble. There we go.
No, don't fight back. Hey, give me my money, dude. So I can leave and feed my 5 kids at home.
I already called the police.
I want my money so I can feed my kids at home. It's 7 o'clock, dude, and I waited an hour for it. Now I gotta wait longer?
You haven't been here an hour yet.
I want my money so I can feed my kids. You can fucking change, you fucking loser.
Look, I'm not going to come out and blame Little Caesars or this poor manager. But on the other hand, if you're going to advertise big on Crazy Bread, you're going to have to expect some consequences. And that's the lesson for the Democrat Party. I mean, is there any doubt who this woman voted for? Kamala. I'm so happy that Trump won.
112 electoral votes. Republicans scored their biggest White House win in 36 years.
Look what happened. Is this crazy?
Crazy? Uh-oh. There's that word again.
I want my money.
We knew before the election that the left was a gracious, tolerant sort, peaceful, even docile. They just want to get their opinion across. So if America happened to reject their vision,
Meg, you're a man.
we knew they would take it well, didn't we?
No.
Do you have any idea how crazy you are?
I'm also incredibly glad that I won't have to see the Vogue covers of Doug Emhoff being celebrated as the first gentleman. Say hello to the new face of masculinity.
Nice. Very nice. Thanks.
If you have family who watches Joy Reid on MSNBC, putting aside political disagreements doesn't seem to be on the menu.
Someone voted that way. Do you recommend, just from a psychological standpoint, being around them? We got the holidays coming up.
Just a societal norm that if somebody is your family, that they are entitled to your time. And I think the answer is absolutely not. So if you are going into a situation where you have family members, where you have close friends who you know have voted in ways that are against you, like what you said, against your livelihood, and it.
Just imagine that these people really believe this crap. They really believe just because someone voted opposite of you that you shouldn't give them the time of day, that you should be pitted against each other. It's not completely fine. There's something seriously inherently wrong with that way of thinking, that they don't even deserve your time to be treated as a human being. My wife and I, we don't agree politically, but I can still look at her and tell her I love her every damn day because I love her for who she is. I don't have to agree with every belief that she has, and she doesn't have to agree with mine. We share a common goal, is to grow old and enjoy life together. That's it. This bullshit of pitting one person against the other over political bullshit is garbage.
It's completely fine to not be around those people.
That's a Yale psychiatrist, folks. A psychiatrist who badly needs a psychiatrist.
Is this crazy?
Kamala. Kamala spent $1 billion and ended up in debt and lost badly. Did her campaign follow the same model as those 7 EV charging stations that they almost set up for $7 billion? I'm gratified that no one listened to the Paul Ryan types as they tried to figuratively turn Trump into Julius Caesar.
It's a disaster if we nominate Trump. You know, I think that I've been saying this for a long time.
Imagine if we had listened to this guy.
Scored their biggest White House win in 36 years.
If we listen to Paul Ryan, this does not happen.
I'm for anybody not named Trump.
All the right people are heading for the hills. Christopher Wray, director of the FBI, has announced his retirement. Oh man, he can't do that. Who's going to tell Patriot Front where to go and where to march? What's Ray Epps going to do? Come on, you can't leave these guys hanging. Quick word, people. I need your help. I need you to subscribe right now. Help! I am a small channel and I really need some positive momentum.
Oh,
help me
thank
out.
you.
Thank you. So right now, everyone is a coroner for the Kamala Harris campaign. 360 million coroners trying to figure out the campaign's cause of death. We know the answer. It died of a crazy bread overdose. Kamala, this isn't exactly difficult to figure out. It's not like the ending of The Usual Suspects where there's a twist that you didn't see coming. These are smart people. They knew what was happening. This was a party that pandered to crazy, and they just didn't have the credibility to back out of it. Democrats, using their mainstream media wingmen, told you again and again, or simply pretended not to notice, that Joe Biden's mind was Campbell's chunky noodle soup.
These are the kind of guys you like to smack in the ass.
And anyone who mentioned this was peddling in disinformation.
I'm telling you, this disinformation shit is an effective technique.
They pretended not to notice that Kamala had the lowest VP approval numbers ever. They pretended that the election was about democracy when Kamala herself got how many primary votes?
0.
0. Kamala had multiple accent personality disorder, multiple policy position disorder, multiple campaign mood disorder, but also suffered from singular answer disorder. Who knows? Maybe one of her personalities did work at McDonald's and was a middle-class kid. Even crazier was pretending that celebrity endorsements were important to coupon people, the working class people, the middle class people. And then we had a crazy barrage of insulting, condescending, flannel pander for men. And that's even before you heard what the celebrity du jour had to say, which was even worse. Take Michael Keaton.
For some of you folks who, guys mostly, I guess, who are thinking about attending a rally with Musk and Trump, they don't really respect you. They laugh at you behind your back. They think you're stupid. They don't want to hang out with you.
Do you hear yourself?
Actually, I think Michael Keaton thinks we're stupid. Trump is laughing at us, really? Did he forget that Trump took a bullet and then told us to fight? Would you do that for people you didn't respect? Would you behave that way if that's potentially your last breath on Earth? And just how messed up is it that Keaton thinks we base our vote on who would hang out with us? This isn't high school, dude. It's the country. Voters might have other motivations. And you know who definitely wouldn't want to hang out with us? Kamala. So will the left reflect and make an effort to reform themselves? Wrong! Yeah, of course not. There's a $500 billion business model dedicated to Trump hate. Plus, history can be our guide here. When Trump won in 2016, there were articles that went into how deep blue areas of media aristocracy was trapped inside a bubble and that they didn't know the rest of America. So what happened with that? Nothing. It would take real humility for the left to recognize their hypocrisy. If they did that, they might need to recognize hypocrisy with COVID and climate change.
World is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue...
Who knows where that rabbit hole leads? Just before the election, Victor Davis Hanson and Mike Rowe were discussing the Trump assassination attempt and how quickly that was put to the side. Hanson explained the lack of interest.
If the former president that got shot at 8 times and got his ear clipped happened to have been Barack Obama, would we be demanding, like, would the journalists that you watch on whatever channels you favor, would they just be moving on, or would there be a giant demand?
But they're not the same, Victor, because Barack Obama was a sophisticated intellectual, the first African-American, and he was an iconic figure, and Donald Trump is an orange, shyster, overweight, slob, cruel. So, of course, we have to have different. And that attitude, I know it can be easily mocked, but that attitude is firmly entrenched on all these issues, either because they're more affluent now, or they feel they're better credentialed, or they control most of the institutions, that was almost their birthright, or maybe most of them are not actively religious, but maybe there's some type of divine force that has bequeathed them those opportunities and success. But whatever the reason is, they feel that they have an entitlement to be hypocritical because they are morally superior and better educated than the rest of us. And so if they make a decision that isn't equally applicable to both sides, they just say, well, you've got a point. I am hypocritical. But on the other hand, you can't compare who I am or where I live or what I do or what my child does or what I think with you guys.
The refusal to be humble, the refusal to be introspective, is it really just a matter of sheer snobbery?
Yep.
Well, here's to the next 4 years and then Vance 2028.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful piece put together. That's Kevin Downey Jr. You can find him at linenewsradio.com, and you can find more of his articles on PJ Media, which they do have a discount code. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure that there is one that is there. Almost positive that there is one that's there. Now that we've gone through that particular one, we can get rid of that story. And of course, the left is going to continue coming up with reasons and excuses and more garbage. It always comes about with all of this stuff. It is this. Joe Rogan is blasted as anti-free speech and pro-cancel culture. Well, what the hell is this? It's a fascinating theory. Humans are certainly smarter than the now extinct Homo erectus, yet the Homo erectus managed to traverse the entire known world, including islands only accessible by watercrafts. Their brains were only half the size of ours, yet they successfully escaped from Africa and populated remote regions of Western Europe, Southeast Asia, and they did it all between 1 and 2 million years ago. Meanwhile, modern humans have been around for roughly 300,000 years, but until about 10,000 years ago, humanity's accomplishments, aside from wiping out all that yummy, delicious megafauna, were embarrassingly limited. No agriculture, no metallurgy, no large cities, no writing, no great monuments, no enduring culture. Modern humans didn't even arrive in Europe until 4,500 years ago. For whatever reason, we just mostly stayed in Africa. And then suddenly, great leaps in innovation simultaneously appeared throughout the globe, including Egypt, Mesopotamia, China, Mesoamerica. As far as we can tell, all 4 of those regions independently developed complex systems of written languages within 3,000 years. Before that, nothing, not a zilch. Over the last 10,000 years, we've gone from footprints on the African savanna to footprints on the moon. Even within our own lifetimes, we're firsthand witnesses to the breakneck speed of human progress. We're constantly and relentlessly focused on innovation, refinement, technological improvement, which beckons the very obvious question, what the hell are we modern humans doing for the past 290,000 years? What triggered this dramatic change over just the last 10,000 years? British writer Graham Hancock has a theory, perhaps a lost civilization shared advanced technology with ancient communities, perhaps a catalytic event such as a large-scale flood forced them to wander the globe, sharing their high-tech knowledge of agriculture, language, metallurgy, and architecture with others. And just maybe this is the missing link that explains why modern society evolved as it did. Hancock's theories have become quite popular, and he's been a repeat guest on Joe Rogan's podcast, and his Netflix series Ancient Apocalypse has been renewed for multiple seasons. 7 months ago, Graham Hancock debated the archaeologist Flint Dibble on the Joe Rogan Experience. Graham Hancock was destroyed, obliterated, humiliated, and discredited. When faced with an actual archaeologist, his theories were systematically exposed as fraudulent, poorly reasoned, and scientifically implausible. Among many objections Dibble raised, we have plenty of evidence of Homo erectus and other archaic humans, yet no evidence of this more recent advanced civilization. No monuments, no tools, no anything. Why would we have so much evidence for one but not the other? With ice examples we can detect when metallurgy began. There was an advanced ancient civilization. They apparently didn't use nails or metal. There are few examples of metallurgy in the 5th and 6th millennium BC, but it didn't begin in earnest until 3,500 BC. Wild seeds evolve differently than domesticated seeds. Wild seeds relied on wind, consumption, or getting stuck to an animal fur to disperse and grow. Domesticated seeds tend to be larger, tastier, and less prone to shatter, going by fossil record. If there was an advanced ancient civilization, they didn't rely on agriculture either. And so on and so forth. Hancock claimed foul. He claimed that Dribble lied and cheated. His buddy Joe Rogan went even further. The debunking of Flint Dribble. You really nailed him on so many things that he was dishonest about. Rogan also said Dibble came on and thought I was going to be an interesting discussion, but it turned out he played fast and loose with the truth. Finally, Flint Dibble had enough. Yesterday, he published a public letter in video form to Joe Rogan. It was a blistering, brutal critique of Joe Rogan's selective bias. Dribble knows his stuff and takes Rogan to the woodshed. Dear Joe Rogan, last April gave me the opportunity to come on your podcast and present real archaeology and actual science to millions of people in a debate that I had with Graham Hancock, your friend who you supported for decades, Joe. You're great at being funny for your fans, but you're less great at judging science as a comedian, not a scientist. That's okay. I wish you'd recognize, though, that your approach to archaeology is not open-minded. You listen to one side and only one side. Your blind love for a Graham goes back decades, and it biases your perspective here, Joe. You can pretend you're in all counterculture, but your reality is that you are the mainstream media now. You are the one who decides who gets to platformed and who gets canceled, and you know it, Joe. For someone who claims to defend free speech and oppose cancel culture, you're clearly just trying to cancel me with this bogus ad hominem attack. I'm a Joe Rogan fan, but I'm definitely on Team Dribble here. Graham Hancock's theories are certainly fun to contemplate, at least on the margins. He's probably correct. Humanity's ancient history is largely unknown. It would be surprising if there weren't wild curveballs still to uncover, but it's absolutely possible that there were other civilizations that helped shape our past. But after so many tens of thousands of years, our knowledge of them is lost, perhaps forever. And there's no harm in continuing to search for them or speculating about them, but that doesn't give rise to fantastical, multi-continental ancient culture that seeded the planet with all the tools for modern civilization. Joe Rogan's strengths are considerable. He's inquisitive, likable, loyal, and eager to learn. Hey, he's the world's most influential podcaster for a reason. Since Election Day 2024, the conservative movement has welcomed Joe Rogan into the MAGA fold with open arms, but his weaknesses are considerable too. The Rogan-Dribble feud is a cautionary tale for conservatives. It's important for a big tent majority party to welcome the Rogan bros to our camp, but let the buyer beware. Don't accept anything on face value. In the words of Ronald Reagan, trust but verify. Divisive revisionism. Thank you very much. That is absolutely true. Dribble came across as a total jackass. I saw the interview, kept cutting Hancock off. Yeah, that was a pretty impressive interview. Now we're getting closer to the hour. Getting closer to the hour where we're going to talk about a little bit of something different, and I'm going to have to show a couple of things to start out with to cleanse the palate for this one. I joke not. This is actually true bullshit.
That's the reason why I'm going to be in January. I want to go to Africa to learn more about the cultures, to avoid misunderstandings.
But you
learn more about the cultures and the person itself.
But you understand that race and color is much more than skin deep. It's heritage and pedigree and tradition and history and struggle. It's all of those things that you can't hope to get anywhere near with 3 tanning injections.
No, but also the all these steps, also having black curly hairs and going to change also my nose to really African version, also more wider here,
So
and
having further surgery.
and also have and also have blood implants. Like also, I like the curves of black women, and I want to get them step by step.
That is a white woman that transitioned to be a black woman. That's what that is.
Mia Khalifa! Mia Khalifa! Mia Khalifa!
Oh my God.
Oh my God!
Send me the
Mia
link.
Khalifa! Mia Enséñame tus... ¡Arregla Mia Khalifa! Mia Khalifa! Mia
And I've got something very interesting for you. Now, this here is and notice I've got a disclaimer up here for this next one. This is a very important disclaimer because this next one is going to freak you out just a little bit. It's going to freak you out. Watch very closely. Why are idiots calling me that I don't trust? There we go. This one is the prediction that came true. Listen really closely and think about it seriously.
If this doesn't freak you out, there's something wrong with you. In 2009, there was a computer program created. It scoured the internet and took information from all over the world. It compiled that information and it used it to predict the future. You may be thinking what I was thinking, which is do better. But wait, hold on, listen to this. The program predicted that Joe Rogan would interview Donald Trump. And remember, in 2009, that was well before Joe Rogan had a podcast. And Trump, he wasn't even president for the first time yet. Now, that's not even the crazy part. Here's the crazy part. It also predicted that 39 days after that interview, there would be a massive firefight in our skies between, get this, between UFOs, the military, and other UFOs, all fighting each other. Now, before you laugh again, know this, that interview between Rogan and Trump just happened 28 days ago.
Wow.
11 days, we're going to find out if the other part of the prediction that was made 15 years ago comes true.
Ooh. Ooh. Creepy, huh? Creepy. Which brings me to the next one. This one here. What's that? Oh, God. Ah. Ah. This is a good one here for you guys to remember.
Yeah, I remember being that young.
Mm-hmm.
Do you wish you were with a younger woman?
It's a trap. Say no. No. No, I like them old. The older, the better. That's my motto.
Oh. Oh my God. Oh God, this is great. Here we go.
So sorry to start this video and just probably won't even put it on TikTok. I just had to come out of work for a minute. I'm working in a really masculine environment. When I got the job, I thought I would just be in the office. I wouldn't see any of the men. I can handle quite a lot. I'm a really strong person. But someone I know from before I transitioned and became me, I think they've told people, and now they're all talking about me and saying really nasty things. I don't even want to go back in. I've got bills to pay and I'm not going to let them win. I am not saying I'm not proud of who I am, and I love who I am. But being the butt of people's jokes, and there's a lot of people, it's so hard. You don't have to agree with me being trans. You don't have to understand my lifestyle. You don't.
I don't have to accept you. I don't have to care what you think. You will be mocked endlessly for being silly. It's no different than that woman that was injecting tanning solution.
You don't have to understand my choices. The least I deserve is their respect. Everything that we have to go through to become who we want to be. I'm sorry, this has been so negative.
Doesn't care about your thoughts, man. Doesn't care about your feelings.
I promise my next video I'll be my usual self.
I'm sure. Your usual self? Do you even know what your usual self is? Sorry.
It's not that I'm ashamed of transitioning or being a trans woman, because I'm really not. It's just the sheer amount of people that I now realize, it's like it all hit me in one go, that I was like, oh my God, everyone's talking about me. They're all looking at me funny and giving me dirty looks.
It might be the Adam's apple. Might be that.
And not everyone. There's some lovely people, don't get me wrong. But as a majority, I'm a walking joke. I feel like a clown walking around.
Well, you are wearing makeup. Clowns wear makeup. Clowns also have big feet.
Just a human being.
And, painted faces.
We're all just human beings. We're all equal. We're all the same. We're just trying to figure out how to be happy.
Your happiness does not come at my expense.
On a positive note, my last video, I showed you my elf eyeliner. See, it's budge proof. I'm snotting and everything. I'm so gross right now. Foundation, on the other hand, God knows where she's gone. She's checked out. She's left the chat. Let's clean the face and go back in. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. And it's just as a reminder, because we don't know how hard someone has it. We all have our struggles. Just be kind and be nice to people.
Absolutely. Be kind and be nice to people. But it does not come at my expense. Does not come at my expense. Your happiness should not cost me a damn thing.
Be quiet. Sit down. You will lose your seat. They won't vote for you. Fight. Don't fight. What the do I have to do in this council in order to get respect as a Black woman? I'm not afraid of anybody here. When I make a mistake, I will be clear. I don't hate you as a white woman. I don't hate you as a white man. I am sick and tired of this body so stupidly racially divided, so afraid, so depraved. People with no faith because they are afraid of they're losing their investment. They're afraid of bargaining. They're afraid of leveraging. These people have, oh my God, I can't even call you cowards because desperation deserves mercy. Here's a redistricting. Fine, we give it to a white woman. Can we all get along? Can we get together? Can we love each other now? Can we make sure that Black and brown babies don't die? Can we make sure that cops don't kill before people are proven innocent? Can we do that? No, because this body crucifies you first because of allegations. This is not a court. You don't get to crucify people before they're proven guilty. They're innocent until proven guilty. Now, after this, I will look forward to working with you because I have stamina. I believe, as Baldwin said, what you do, not what you say. Your votes here sometimes are racist. You move sometimes in a way that hurts my people. And then when I get up to stand
Morning,
up and
Squid.
talk, all she talks about is black stuff.
As you should.
I am here to represent every single black woman and man that suffers in the community. God has my back. I am not afraid to not have political aside or any type of affiliations or connections. I came here, I fear none, no man but my Lord. I came here to serve people.
People!
I came here to love.
So the green is not made out of seaweed like they said it was. People,
But
I
people
tell you.
talk about this racial equity thing. It's all fake. And you do politics and you hurt each other. And yet, here I am, a 5-foot-tall African woman from the projects. And I'm here to tell you, if the voters don't vote me back,
Yeah. Yeah. If you're wondering who that is, that's the Boston City Councilor Tanya Fernandez, seen here in this video, violated multiple provisions of state campaign laws, but will not face single repercussion. Yeah, campaign finance laws, she broke them all over the damn place. That's why she's up yelling. That's why she's up there freaking out. You have to remember that this is the mentality.
I'm also part of marginalized groups that have been historically oppressed, and it's like, keep on raising awareness and like slaying. Like, I hope that like we reach more equity soon.
We actually have a equity commitment form. You can actually give up your spot at university for a member of the Tongva tribe. Is this something that you'd be willing to do for this underrepresented, underprivileged community?
Honestly, no, but I hope somebody else does. That's great.
Not currently. I would need to think about it more.
I personally don't view myself as privileged. I don't think I would be willing to give up my spot at UCLA. I think that my ethnicity's representation is also important. I'm a Black student.
Who should we find to give up their spot?
And that's a tough question. Anybody that is willing and feels that they're represented in the right way here.
You know what I mean? I can't make a split-second decision.
Oh my God. Oh my God. We need a palate cleanser. I love this lady. She's awesome.
See what I'm talking about? The many faces of constipation? Motherfucker, how the hell they know I'm constipated? I wish I'd get up there and I'd show them how constipated I am. I would shit all over that motherfucker. Son of a bitch. I'm going to get me a phone number. I'm going to find out who put that damn thing up there. And I'm going to call them. And I'm going to tell them they ain't got very fucking long to take that son of a bitch down, or I'll be coming back and I will break the damn thing.
Granny, you can't get up there.
I'll bring me a damn shotgun and I'll shoot that motherfucker. How in the fuck they do that? Motherfucker, I'm going to get to the fucking bottom of it. That's one thing for fucking sure. That damn thing's pretty high, but I think I could bring me a ladder and I'll get up there and I'll take my own damn picture down. Stupid ass motherfuckers. But faces of constipation. Son of a bitch.
Oh, she kills me. She kills me. Oh, I'm getting to the main story today. The main story is coming. It is
Why
coming.
did
Just
you
hold on.
use the money that you purchased Twitter with to do something for charity, philanthropy, more good with that money?
Well, I do a lot of things philanthropically, really, my companies are intended to do good for the future of humanity. With Tesla trying to accelerate the advent of sustainable transport and energy, and SpaceX is providing internet to the least served people around the world. So we're able to help Ukraine with the Starlink terminals and give them connectivity in particularly some of the hardest hit areas. So, aspirationally, I am trying to do good for humanity and the future of civilization.
Where did you get this mentality? Where did your son get this?
I know. I mean, I told him not to take on the world and the universe, and he didn't listen.
Clearly not listening to
listen to his mom.
Oh. God. All right. Time for our main story. The main story. And this here is brought about by the wonderful Megan Fox. Some thoughts on the last two legal cases I've covered. What the Hales v. Preston, Clayton Eckerd v. Laura Owens, both bad lawyers who entered the cases late after several YouTube channels had covered the issues in depth and had already come to the conclusion on who was right. These lawyers, David Gringus, Bruce Matskin, demanded that all the coverage stop immediately or change to favor their clients who were demonstratively lying about many things. Both lawyers have tried to paint YouTubers as opportunists and grifters who aren't deeply convicted of their positions, but instead primarily interested in money. We've all heard this before. Just remember Johnny Depp. They've both been threatened lawsuits to stop free speech. They both have engaged in online behavior that can only be described as unprofessional and becoming of an officer of the court. Both of them have accused the media coverage of being a conspiracy against their clients. One has gone so far to claim RICO and claim that he can have YouTubers arrested for ridiculing his clients and his behavior, which by all standards, abominable. From motions to compel lunch, commenting endlessly on active litigation, threatening bar complaints against opposing counsel as a legal strategy, berating legal assistants, coercing journalists, lying about privilege, threatening media with homelessness, ruminating about the deaths of critics, to threatening judges. These cases have it all. Both lawyers have run other creators off these stories with threats, leaving just a few who are now being targeted with a coordinated PR campaign to destroy them through false copyright strikes, doxing, lawfare, and false defamatory attacks through third-party useful idiot channels who were promised subscribers, fame, and money. One lawyer has gone so far as to sue the creator DUI Guy Plus for a bogus copyright claim over thumbnails that, if successful, will have a detrimental effect on all YouTubers. If you're a legal creator on YouTube and you have not jumped onto this discussion, why not? Maybe you don't know about these epic battles, or maybe you just thought it's just too much trouble. What's stopping you from showing these lawyers in the line that they should not have crossed? Are you concerned about frivolous litigation? Your inaction will do nothing to stop it. Further, your silence only emboldens this behavior, and one day soon it will be directed at you. These two have already taken ideas from each other, and it's spilling into other cases. As LawTube Sean has reported recently, RICO is never the answer. The goal is to silence independent creators who are making content outside of the mainstream narrative. If that's acceptable to you, DM her if you'd like to get caught up. Happy to share. Be interviewed about the growing threat to independent creators covering legal cases. Make no mistake, if they're successful on the intimidation game that is going to come to you someday. And they will. Gotta love Megan Fox. Yeah, absolutely. And she's pretty straightforward on this. She's calling it out as she sees it. She's been pretty straightforward in all of this. Kudos to her. Kudos to her. I hope she can get as many people as she possibly can to go after this and bring it out. Megan and Tug are good. That is my channel. Yeah. Scoop protocol, the letter that went out, all need to backfire on the same way on them. Not me. I wasn't talking about what the hell's it all, but you threatened me and it backfired, and I'm covering it now. Like I said, that right there is something that if you pay any attention to the way they're going, they're coming after everyone. Yeah. Oh yeah, I did do a response to him on Saturday. I had the wonderful Yamaha biker that came by and let them have a double barrel shotgun of love to their face. It was an epic response, and I am sure that that's going to be talked about at some point tonight. It is not going to be. Yeah. He sent a letter to Gringus. He sent a letter to David. You know, he's reaching out to these people. He's reaching out to these people again. And it's nothing more than trying to get people shut down. And this bleeds over into the next story I'm going to talk about. Can state censorship actually ever curtail ideological extremism? I think what Tucker was trying to express with that quip is that people are instinctual more than cognitive. After all, conscious thought by some accounts amounts only 5% of brain function. The rest is running in the background on ancient algorithms. They can feel when they're being lied to, even if they don't know exactly what the lie is or for what purpose. And they don't like it. They're also bitter when they feel their speech, and therefore their free will is suppressed and subverted by an unseen machine at work in the dark, the essential soul-crushing Kafka dilemma. The central question here is, does censorship of dissident speech in the name of combating extremism actually produce its alleged intended goal of less extremism, or does it produce more? From Naomi Wolf, an excellent ex-Democrat purged from the party in much the same way as Tulsi via The Guardian. After the Charlie Hebdo shootings, heads of the state marched abreast in Paris in symbolic defense of France's long tradition of freedom of speech. This seemed reassuring, but that image was what political consultants call optics. For democracies around the world have been recently seeing a striking wave of anti-speech legislation. Surely after one terrorist atrocity after another, stamping out freedom to express extremist ideas on college campuses and online is a small price to pay for safety. But the core assumption on these politicians, including Cameron, are selling these laws to the public is simply wrong. The concept of underlying such bills is that dangerous ideas are like a virus. You can quarantine them or kill them like germs, but ideas are like a vast rushing body of water that will uproot checkpoints and reconfigure a landscape if barriers are placed in its way. In fact, the history of censorship shows that it's completely useless in stamping out ideas. The fastest way to spread an idea is to censor it. Thank you very much, Pat. Thank you very much, Patrick W. I appreciate you. And I do have to give a big shout out to Dictionary Diva. Last night gave 5 gifted memberships. Or was it 10? I believe it was 5. That big shout out to Diva for that. She goes on to cite examples wherein state censorship has failed to produce the intended results. There are likely many reasons state censorship, although it might work in the short term, inevitably fails in the long term. But one of the most prominent and obvious, probably the Streisand effect. Streisand effect, phenomenon in which an attempt to censor, hide, or otherwise draw attention away from something only serves to attract more attention to it. The name derives from the American singer-actress Barbra Streisand lawsuit against a photographer in 2003, which drew attention to the photo she was suing to have taken off the internet. Scholars have noted that censorship often backfires when the public perceives an attempt by a powerful person or organization to repress free speech. It can incite public outrage, especially if the story involves an underdog. Moreover, Attempted censorship can spur curiosity. The banning of books and websites, for instance, often drives further interest in them. People tend to want to judge for themselves what is objectionable about something that has been singled out for suppression. People, especially ones in cultures with traditions of individual freedom, like the West and America in particular, don't appreciate being told what they're not allowed to look at and will often look at what they are prohibited from looking at out of pure spite. And when they do, they frequently find that whatever the official narrative was regarding the verboten thing or person or idea is inaccurate and often grossly so. I suspect the upper echelon of the professional managerial class understands the dynamics here. They suffer many defects, including arguably not having souls, but being stupid isn't one of them. Not having the resources to investigate properly the phenomenon of censorship causing radicalization isn't one of them either. So they must know their efforts to combat misinformation, etc., will only further radicalize these people they publicly claim to want to de-radicalize. Ostensibly, it's for its own sake. If nothing else, the government would take the course of action that would result in minimal popular resistance to its program, but it doesn't in the case of censorship. It pushes and pushes the envelope until a record-breaking number of Americans no longer trust the institutions that once garnered so much respect and trust. The conclusion, if it were not blaming hubris or stupidity, is they want to generate internal political dissent, therefore granting themselves permission to clamp down, broader powers, bigger budgets, new authorities, etc. Hence the war on domestic terror. We've seen the Brandon entities since Brandon assumed office. Problem, reaction, solution. And that bleeds over into what Megan has been talking about, what Tug has been talking about, what I've been talking about, what others have been talking about, the censorship, these lawyers trying to silence us, to take away our voices of what we see, of what we clearly are pointing out, has gone from being a story of just a simple content creator, just a simple content creator that's doing what they enjoy doing, which is being fun employed, being stalked by somebody, being sued by somebody, being attacked by somebody, having their rights taken away from them. And as soon as people start covering it, they become part of their group. My interaction with the Hales has been very minimal. I think Jeremy was in the other night responding to things that I was saying. But beyond that, I don't think I've really had any interaction with Jeremy. Yet I'm going to be told that, giving me promises of telling me they're going to make my YouTube channel grow if I just come out and start saying what I don't believe against the Hales. Trying to censor me, trying to shut me down, trying to shut down the DUI guy, trying to shut down Megan Fox by striking her channel multiple times, trying to shut down Tug, trying to go after content creators that just because they were associated with somebody, just because they show up on a podcast, trying to go after people is never a good idea. It just makes people pay attention even more. There's a lot of people that I know personally, that have decided to stop covering it. Why? Because they don't have time to be involved with a lawsuit. And I understand it. I'm not lambasting them because of it. I do the things that I do out of pure spite, I guess. That, and I just have fun with it. Point of YouTube was to be fun, to have a good time, to hang out with people that put a smile on my face. Last night is a perfect example of fun. That's what YouTube is supposed to be. This bullshit of having people getting upset because I cover something. All the while they're grifting off of a young child to have to have a lawyer that wants to go into endless litigation, wants to settle this. You know, if you wanted to settle it, you shouldn't have got involved in the first place. You've admittedly done this intentionally. You've admittedly gone after people intentionally. You admittedly have gone to do this to troll people. Whatever the reason is for your getting involved in this in the first place, whenever it comes around and bites you in the ass, just know the reason it bit you in the ass. It's a lot to step into, and just know that none of the content creators are immune from this kind of garbage that's going to come about. There's people out there that want to see you fail whenever you do this. They want to see your channels be struck down, shut up. Why? Because it doesn't look good whenever their bullshit is being called out. That's the reason for the censorship. It's the reason for the censorship that big corporations will have against you. There's a reason why YouTube only allows you to talk about certain things. They put it down as terms of service. You break those terms of service, they will shut down your voice on that platform. There's lawyers that want that to happen. They don't realize that silence that they're trying to cause on other people is going to come back and bite them. It's going to silence them on other places that are more meaningful than some YouTube channel. This is the place where we have a little bit of fun. We find things that interest us. We talk about them. We discuss them. They become memes. Mainstream media notices it. And they want to be part of it. The mainstream media is one of the biggest groups of people that want to censor your speech. They want to censor what you hear, what you listen to, what you talk about, what you discuss. They want to make sure that your thoughts and your beliefs are not spread about. You'll see it. There will be people that will come in here. Oh, you're arguing with me. It's not my job to argue with you. My platform isn't a place to have an argument. It's me on my pedestal saying whatever the hell I want to say within the terms of YouTube service. It's supposed to be a fun place. Make it fun again. Make the YouTube space fun again. Have a good time. Get out there and do things that bring you happiness and joy. You have Thanksgiving that's coming up, for God's sakes. You have Thanksgiving that's coming up, and you're going to see people that are arguing with their neighbors and their own family members, uninviting each other because of their beliefs or political beliefs. And then you've got Christmas right behind that. Don't make it odd and awkward. Know your limits. Know what you can talk about. And if politics comes into it, just remember that they're still family. They're still friends. That didn't change just because of who they voted for. Gotta be nice to each other. Just damn. Like, get over your bullshit. Get over your. Makes me wonder how we survive all of this. Just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep doing what you're doing.
I don't even like my husband enough to be out here looking for his chin ass. I'm happy he gone. This the longest breakout I ever had since we got married. He's controlling. I'm excited that he's missing. And then the police and y'all telling me I gotta sit here and do a news interview asking for help. I don't want help. I like that he's missing. I don't want him to come home. But I don't want y'all, when the cameras start and stuff, I'll cry a little bit and act like I miss him, but I don't want the police thinking I had something to do with it because I don't care, but I'm tired of them. You get what I'm saying? Listen, I already done went to jail for holding my last boyfriend captive, but he deserved it. Exactly. So with my husband missing, they really gonna think it's me. I ain't did nothing. So whenever you ready, I'm ready. You ready? If anybody has seen my husband, please. I don't cry so much my tears won't even start falling out my eyes. Baby, if you listening to this, if you hear this from anywhere, please come home, y'all. Please let my man free. I love my husband. I need my... I heard somebody say it's live. This live? It's been live the whole time?
Bless your heart. I thought I was the only mentally challenged one here.
Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Early morning, rise and shine. Coffee's brewing, feeling fine. News is out and on the air. Shizzy whiz nuts wild, but we don't care. Morning, Whiz and Coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy whiz nuts, start the show. Let's go. Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Headlines spinning in the breeze. Stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java with a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning, Whiz and Coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Headlines spinning in the breeze. Stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java, wear a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning, Whiz and Coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Serious is overrated. Every day we're caffeinated. Talk the town, but in a jest. Morning Whiz is always best. Clock is ticking, time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop. Clock is ticking, time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop.
Oh my god, Shizzy breaks Larry. Shizzy broke Larry.
And make sure you give